actor who really brought, realness to television, playing a great character, playing a great son on the Cosby Show.
When news broke about Malcolm-Jamal Warner's sudden death, it didn't just hit Hollywood, it cracked the whole place wide open. What first looked like a heartbreaking tragedy has now twisted into one of the most bone-chilling conspiracies the industry's ever seen. At first, it was just quiet whispers in dark corners. Then the rumors started heating up, but everything went into overdrive when Ice Cube stepped out front with claims so explosive, they've rattled Black Hollywood to its core. Malcolm, the beloved Theo Huxtable, is now at the center of a sinister story, casting heavy shadows, not just over the industry, but straight toward Bill Cosby himself, the very man who gave him his big break. According to Cube, this wasn't some freak accident in the water. He says it was a cold, calculated takedown meant to shut Malcolm up before he could spill the truth. And Cube isn't just talking reckless. He's coming armed with leaked convos, whispered warnings from insiders, creepy behind-the-scenes tales, and even word of a video that could blow the roof off this whole thing. In a wild twist, Cube claims Malcolm was working on a tell-all memoir, a bombshell that could have cracked decades of buried secrets wide open. Not only would it have ripped into Cosby's now infamous double life, but it would have called out a whole network of cover-ups, manipulation, and powerful names keeping the darkness hidden. Sources even say Malcolm had receipts, documents, emails, recordings, and a list of execs who allegedly helped keep Cosby's dirtiest secrets buried for years. And here's the real kicker. Malcolm's own mother isn't holding back. She's straight up saying her son's death was no accident. In her eyes, he was taken out right when he was gearing up to finally break his silence. Ice Cube paints Malcolm's last days like something out of a thriller. Tension in every step, paranoia creeping in, and clear signs something was off. Late-night phone calls, whispered confessions, Malcolm's voice shaking like he knew danger was closing in. He allegedly told Cube, "They're trying to shut me up." And now, those words cut deeper than ever, because not long after, Malcolm was gone, just like that. But here's where it gets even shadier. After his death, the whole media machine went dead quiet. No real investigation, no public autopsy, no family press conference, not even detailed coverage in the headlines, just silence. An eerie, calculated silence. Ice Cube wasn't buying it, and neither are the fans. Social media is flooded with hashtags like #Justice for Malcolm and #Cube told the truth, keeping the fire alive. And according to Cube, Bill Cosby wasn't just a sitcom icon or a comedian with clout. He was the puppet master, pulling strings from the shadows. And what comes next in this story will blow your mind.
Right now, it's a moment of extreme gratitude. There are people showing up for me in a way that makes me a little emotional. And I don't need to talk about, what the thing is, but people are showing up for me, and not that I should be surprised, because these particular people would be people who would show up for me, because that's just the kind of people they are. But it still doesn't negate the gratitude, whatever emotions it brings up, being touched in my heart and my soul. It's just really cool. And it makes me think about, wants me to share, be a good person, right? Be good to others, be of service, do good for other people.
Ice Cube paints Cosby like a shadow king, smiling for the cameras while allegedly moving like a crime boss in the dark, controlling narratives, erasing evidence, silencing anyone daring enough to step out of line. When Malcolm started pulling away, turning down strange offers, canceling those last-minute private meetings, and keeping his distance, the tension got thick. Suddenly, he was frozen out of opportunities, blacklisted, and, according to whispers, genuinely scared for his life. Word began spreading that Malcolm was working on something huge, a documentary and a memoir that would blow the lid off more than just Cosby's skeletons. We're talking Hollywood's racial politics, shady inner circles, and the secret power players running the game from the shadows. Some sources even claim a Hollywood fixer, someone with deep ties to both corporate elites and the darker underbelly of the industry, might have been brought in to shut him down for good. Sounds like movie fiction, until you start looking at the way it all played out. Then it feels way too real. People close to Malcolm say he became almost invisible in those final months, wouldn't talk on the phone, kept everyone, even his tightest circle, at arm's length. And here's the part that really shook fans. Bill Cosby, the man who played his TV dad for decades, didn't say a single word after Malcolm's death. No tribute, no post, nothing. Just cold, calculated silence, pure radio silence. And like Ice Cube says, sometimes silence screams louder than any statement ever could. In a leaked interview, Cube dropped a straight-up bomb. He believes Malcolm was handled before he ever had the chance to go public. Cube even claims there's a recording, a phone call between someone in Cosby's inner circle, talking about Malcolm like he was a problem that needed to be taken care of before he could blow the doors off everything. That tape hasn't surfaced yet, but if it ever leaks, this whole story could go nuclear. Meanwhile, Ice Cube's been feeling the heat himself. Strange cars parked outside his place, creepy emails telling him to walk away, vague, shadowy threats. But Cube's not backing down. Word is, he's been quietly stacking receipts for his own documentary, one that will tear into what really happened. And in his version, this isn't a tragic accident. It's a full-blown orchestrated cover-up with consequences reaching far beyond one actor's death. And here's the twist. Malcolm wasn't just working on Hollywood exposés. Sources close to Cube say he was tied to certain nonprofits. But these weren't your everyday charities. They were connected to something much bigger and much riskier than anyone realized. Some of those so-called nonprofits might not have been so clean after all. Insiders claim they were moving hush money, scrubbing reputations, and shielding big names from scandal by polishing up their public image. And here's the craziest part. Word is Cosby, desperate to salvage whatever was left of his legacy, saw Malcolm as a serious threat. After everything Cosby's already been through, another bombshell, especially from someone as respected and beloved as Malcolm, could have been the knockout punch. And according to these sources, that's when the decision was made. Malcolm had to go. Ice Cube hasn't laid out all his receipts yet, but the cryptic clues, the mounting pressure, and the dead silence from the media point to something much bigger brewing behind the curtain.
Jeff, how are you feeling about it?
Great. I'm happy we got through it. Like for 5 years, like I want a series, and you never think it's gonna hit number one. I mean, we soared straight to the top, and to be number one consistently, to be in the top 5 consistently, that's great. And I'm glad we got through the first year.
How long do you hope this goes on?
For a long time, until the audience stops laughing. And with Bill Cosby, I doubt they ever stop laughing.
What about for you? What has he taught you?
Oh, wow. There's nothing I can say specifically. There are things that he's helped me with, throughout the whole year. If it has something to do with the script, if I have personal problems or whatever, it's variations of things. And I'm very grateful.
And what about this party? Seems like a pretty good celebration.
Yes. We're celebrating for another year.
If even half of what Cube is saying checks out, it won't just rattle Cosby's name. It could burn down his entire legacy and drag Hollywood's deepest secrets into the light. We're talking about a tangled web of corruption built on race, power, and massive money moves. This isn't just one tragic death. This is a machine designed to protect the powerful and crush anyone who dares to speak against it. The mainstream media might be acting like nothing's wrong, but Cube, a man who's built his whole career on keeping it real, is refusing to fold. He's made it crystal clear he will not be silenced. And the deeper you dig into Malcolm's final days, the more strange patterns start connecting, until it stops sounding like just a theory and starts feeling like cold, hard truth. For a lot of people, it's sinking in hard. America's so-called beloved TV dad might have been guarding a legacy not built on love and laughs, but on secrets, fear, and control. And now that Ice Cube has ripped the lid off this thing, there may be no putting it back on. As Cube's voice gets louder, more people from Malcolm's world are stepping out, and what they're sharing is disturbing, heartbreaking, and downright jaw-dropping. At first, Malcolm's mother, Pamela Warner, stayed silent. But now, sources close to the family say she's convinced her son's death was not a tragic accident. In private conversations, she's reportedly opened up about how Malcolm had grown deeply paranoid in the months leading up to his death, telling her he felt like eyes were on him everywhere he went. He even suspected someone was tracking his phone and computer. Friends recall how he suddenly stopped hitting his regular spots, switched up the cars he drove, and canceled events at the last minute, like he knew something bad was closing in. And that paranoia, it didn't come from nowhere. People now believe it was fueled by his bold plan to release a memoir that would have demolished the carefully polished images of some of the most powerful men in entertainment. And Cosby wasn't the only one. Insiders say the manuscript had grown to over 300 pages, packed with bombshells, deep secrets about exploitation, systemic racism, and backroom deals the public was never meant to know about. Malcolm wasn't just writing from memory, he had years of personal journals, broken NDAs, and even testimonies from others who were too terrified to speak out themselves. The project had a chilling title, Hiding in Plain View, a name that hits like a punch, pointing out how these dirty truths were sitting right in front of us the whole time. Hidden behind the spotlight and fake Hollywood smiles, Malcolm's wife, whose identity had been kept under wraps for years, was said to be fully aware of the danger closing in on him. Sources claim she begged him not to release the book without first locking down serious legal protection. She knew the second he stepped out as a whistleblower, there'd be no way back, and no way to protect him from what could come next. One chilling report says Malcolm told her, "If something happens to me, they'll say it was an accident. Don't believe it." That single line now sends shivers through everyone who knew him. And as the mourning continues, more suspicious details about his death keep bubbling up. The official story? He drowned in Costa Rica, caught in a riptide. But several witnesses claim they saw Malcolm in a heated argument with a man on the beach just hours before he went into the water. No police record mentions the fight. No suspect was named, nothing. But when you line it all up, something doesn't sit right. And here's where it gets truly disturbing. Malcolm's body was cremated within 24 hours of being found. Sources say neither his mother nor his wife gave permission for it. That move left people stunned and furious, because now many believe crucial evidence was wiped out forever. Even stranger, the explosive memoir Hiding in Plain View, the one everyone close to him swears existed, has vanished, not in his belongings, not in any files. His laptop, gone. And when his personal items were shipped back to his family, there was no trace of it at all. That missing laptop wasn't the only red flag. Emails to his publisher had mysteriously vanished. No replies, no trace. And the backup drives Malcolm was known to keep locked in a safe deposit box, suddenly inaccessible. It's like the entire project was scrubbed off the face of the earth. Yet the people who knew him swear it was real. They'd read pieces of it, discussed chapters with him, even seen early drafts with their own eyes. Then came the detail that still chills people to the bone. One anonymous source claims the book opened with the line, "If you are reading this, then I didn't make it to the end." That alone is enough to freeze your blood. As the mystery thickens, Ice Cube's not backing down. On a recent podcast, he revealed Malcolm had personally reached out to him for help, turning the memoir into a documentary. Malcolm reportedly told him, "They'll never let it air on cable. We have to do this ourselves." The plan? Skip traditional media completely. Push it through YouTube, underground screenings, and pure word of mouth. A grassroots bombshell too raw to censor. And now, that footage, if it still exists, is considered the holy grail of this whole case. Cube's even brought in a private cybersecurity team to chase down any digital trail Malcolm might have left behind. And he's not alone anymore. Other celebrities are beginning to break their silence too. Jaleel White, yes, Steve Urkel himself, dropped a cryptic message right after Warner's death that has fans buzzing. Not everything you're told is the whole truth. That's the cryptic line Jaleel White dropped, and it hit like a thunderclap. He warned that people are listening, and the questions are only getting louder. Sometimes the version of the story that gets told is just the one that's easiest to clean up. The post was gone within minutes, but not before screenshots spread like wildfire across the internet. And he's not alone. Stars like Debbie Allen and Tempest Bledsoe have been dropping subtle hints of behind-the-scenes pressure to keep their mouths shut. They're not making direct accusations, but you can feel the weight in their silence. So why aren't more people speaking out? Insiders say it's pure fear, fear of lawsuits, fear of losing million-dollar deals, fear of being blacklisted in an industry where one wrong word can erase your career overnight. But behind closed doors, that wall of silence is starting to crack. More voices are whispering that they don't believe Malcolm's death was an accident. One of the most haunting revelations came from an unnamed Netflix executive who once worked with Malcolm. He claims Malcolm told him, "There are powerful men who will do anything to stay in control. If I go down, at least I'm telling the truth." That quote has since been plastered across blogs, podcasts, and independent news sites, fanning the flames of a fire that's only getting hotter. Right now, the truth is buried under layers of secrets and fear. But Malcolm's mother, his wife, his friends, and Ice Cube are refusing to let it die. They're piecing it all together, connecting dots, chasing every breadcrumb Malcolm left behind, and preparing to rip the curtain back on whatever darkness might have surrounded his final days. The official story hasn't changed, but if even a fraction of what's being whispered is true, then this is no longer just about losing a beloved actor. It's about losing a man who was ready to risk it all to speak the truth. And if that truth threatened the wrong people, they may have made the fatal move of silencing him, only to spark something much bigger. Because his legacy, it's not going quiet. As this chapter unfolds, one thing is crystal clear. This story is far from over. Malcolm-Jamal Warner's death has shifted from a personal tragedy to a symbol, especially in Black Hollywood, where speaking out has always come with a dangerous price. Those closest to Malcolm believe he wasn't just writing a memoir, he was building a movement, something real, something that could uplift young Black creatives and finally call out decades of exploitation so many have endured in silence. And now, that silence is the thing screaming the loudest. Ice Cube keeps pressing for answers, and more voices are joining the fight. But what's lit the fire again? A deleted podcast episode, Malcolm's Last, suddenly resurfacing, recorded just 48 hours before his death. It might hold the final pieces to a story too big to stay buried. The episode, chillingly titled "When They Won't Let You Speak," vanished from every platform without a single explanation. But now, thanks to anonymous sources, it's leaked, and it's rattling everyone who's heard it. Malcolm's voice in the recording is slow, deliberate, heavy, like a man carrying the weight of something he knows will change everything. He sounds worn down, reflective, almost like he's leaving behind a message for when he's no longer here. He speaks on betrayal, on trust broken by people he once thought were allies, on exhaustion, not just from the grind, but from the act of keeping up appearances. Tired of being polite, tired of waiting, tired of pretending everything is okay, he says, before dropping the line that's now been quoted everywhere. There comes a point where staying quiet becomes more dangerous than speaking out. I'm there now. That one sentence has lit the internet on fire. The episode runs just 27 minutes, but every second drips with tension. Malcolm makes subtle, razor-sharp references to unseen forces and nameless figures running the show. According to him, this system doesn't care about talent. You think it's about talent, he says, but it's about compliance. You're either part of the illusion or you're out. Those words are now spreading like wildfire, shared across social media, dissected by independent journalists, and replayed in reaction videos worldwide. Fans who once saw Malcolm as the quiet, grounded artist, the one who stayed out of drama, never chased clout, never sold out, are starting to realize the truth. In those final recordings, Malcolm wasn't just speaking his truth. He was protecting something bigger, and maybe, just maybe, trying to protect himself. Malcolm even spoke about his daughter in that final recording, saying he didn't care about leaving her fame or money. He wanted to leave her the truth. "My story won't be easy to hear," he said, "but it's mine, and I won't let them rewrite it." That line has now become a battle cry in the industry. A quiet resistance is rising. Young actors, writers, and creatives are reposting Malcolm's quotes with captions like, "We hear you, and your voice lives on." Independent filmmakers are already developing projects inspired by his life and message, trying to carry the torch and finish the work he started. But with the momentum comes a shadow, because as the movement grows, so does the pushback. Just weeks after Ice Cube went public with his claims, several indie bloggers who dared to cover the story reported being threatened. Some had their social media flagged or mysteriously restricted. One even says a man claiming to be from a media licensing firm showed up, but the meeting quickly turned into straight-up intimidation. It's becoming clearer by the day. There are powerful forces who do not want this story told. And yet, the truth keeps clawing its way to the surface. In a new twist, a tech associate who once worked with Malcolm claims the memoir might not be gone for good. They say encrypted backups of the manuscript could still be floating somewhere in cloud storage. But reaching them would take legal muscle, elite-level hacking, and time. Serious time. On top of everything else, a former assistant claims Malcolm left behind a handwritten journal, locked in a box at his old recording studio. Inside, possible outlines, chapter notes, dates, and names. But here's the catch. That box has reportedly been sealed as part of a private investigation still underway. What's inside could change everything, depending on how much of Malcolm's work ever makes it into the light. While the investigation crawls forward, fans are going full detective mode, digging through his past interviews, old projects, and past quotes, searching for hidden clues in a story that refuses to fade. Many are now realizing Malcolm had been dropping breadcrumbs for years. From the raw poetry and hiding in plain view, to his fiery spoken word performances, he'd been calling out systemic racism, mental health struggles, and survival in a corrupt system long before anyone knew how deep it ran. He was trying to wake people up, but most only started listening after he was gone. Now critics are asking the tough question, why have the major media outlets stayed so quiet? Aside from a few polite obituaries, there's been barely a whisper about Ice Cube's accusations or the suspicious details surrounding Malcolm's death. And some say that silence isn't coincidence, it's protection. Protection for the same system Malcolm was trying to blow wide open. A system built on image control, secrets, and burying dangerous truths before they spread. Others argue that Malcolm's spotless image might actually be the reason the press avoided it. He wasn't a scandal magnet, so they couldn't spin it for easy clicks. But in the shadows, the real story still burns. No scandals, no tabloid drama, and in today's headline-hungry world, that made him less profitable. But those who truly knew Malcolm say that's exactly how he wanted it. He never played the fame game. He was playing the long game. And now in death, his legacy is shouting louder than ever. Behind the scenes, Hollywood veterans are meeting quietly in private rooms, away from cameras and PR handlers. They're talking about launching a full independent investigation, one that doesn't touch law enforcement or official channels. Their belief? Only outside teams, private investigators, and sharp legal minds can truly uncover what happened in Malcolm's final days. Ice Cube is reportedly ready to put serious money behind it. And he's not alone. Anonymous donors from inside the industry are stepping forward, determined to see it through. And then came the moment that shook everyone. In a rare public statement, Malcolm's mother broke her silence through a family rep saying, "Malcolm lived with purpose and left with unfinished business." That one line says everything. This story isn't over, not even close. Her words have echoed across generations, from fans who grew up watching him as Theo Huxtable to young creatives just discovering his work. They now see Malcolm not just as a TV star, but as a fighter, a truth teller, a man who refused to stay silent even when speaking came with the highest possible cost. And so, the fight continues. What some thought was the final page in Malcolm-Jamal Warner's story is now being rewritten by the very people he inspired. His last podcast, The Missing Memoir, The Whispers of Secrets Too Dangerous to Name. This isn't just history anymore. It's a living puzzle, and thousands of us are out here piece by piece trying to solve it. Whether the full truth drops tomorrow, next year, or a decade from now, one thing's certain: Malcolm's voice didn't die. If anything, it's louder now than ever before. He didn't just talk about survival, he embodied it as an act of resistance, as a form of excellence. And in this final chapter, it feels like he may have sparked the very movement he always believed could exist. If anyone thought erasing him would close the book, they miscalculated badly, because this isn't the end of Malcolm-Jamal Warner's legacy. It's only the beginning. If you felt this story in your gut, if you believe there's more to be uncovered, don't let the conversation die here. Hit that like button, smash subscribe for more deep dives, drop your thoughts in the comments, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. We'll see you in the next one. Stay alert and stay woke.